Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Goblin Views. I am your titular goblin, and today I am accompanied by the great Akasha, and we are going to be reviewing...
Bruh.
Is that your introduction?
Yeah.
Okay. And we are going to be reviewing amazing... mostly just the Spider-Man comic series, like all of them, basically. But the way that we're doing it is we're going in order of how they came out. So we're starting with Amazing Fantasy 15, which is obviously the introduction to Spider-Man, and then doing the first 10 issues of the original Amazing Spider-Man comic series. So, with that being said, do you want to just hop right into it? Got anything to say?
No.
All right. For the background today, our creation is going to be the Sandman. So, hopefully I'll be able to make a good Sandman. But, yeah, let's get started with Amazing Fantasy number 15. You want to start us off, or...?
Yeah. First thing I want to say, I know it's live, so we can't, put up pictures with editing and stuff, but the cover for this is, a really, really good cover.
It's like the most iconic Spider-Man cover ever. So.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's, redone over and over. It's the one where he's, flying through the city holding the criminal.
Yeah, well, it's just, some of the later ones... There's none of the other 10 we're going to talk about where they have such a good cover, artistically, because, they actually do some really great shading and stuff. Not to say the art is, bad or anything, but this is just really good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very eye-catching.
I think the problem is that with the other covers, they kind of do the thing where, all early... we're talking about early Spider-Man comic book covers right now.
Yeah.
With them, I think they try too much to be I don't know. The first one for Amazing Fantasy, or Amazing Spider-Man number 1 with the Fantastic Four is really, really good, too.
Well, with very early covers, actually for a really long time, comic book covers have a lot going on in them.
Yeah, they tried to do that thing where they, encompass everything that's going to happen.
Oh.
What do you... In sub only. What do you mean sub only? Oh, God, no.
Oh, no.
I think I turned it off. Yeah, I turned it off. Yeah. Holy shit, I didn't realize that was on. Hi, Blackout. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I did not know. I guess my fucking laptop just clicked something without me knowing. But... yeah, they do that thing where they try to, tell everybody what the fuck is, going on in the issue. So it's, just crammed fucking packed with shit.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's, really hard to, appreciate it just because it's, kind of an eyesore to look at.
That's the funny thing is with early comics, not only with the covers and the titles, but also, in little blurbs from the authors, they're just, whoa, boy, you're in for a surprise today. You're going to see Dr. Doom in this one. And it's why'd you give it away?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's kind of the whole appeal or whatever.
Yeah.
Being oh, Dr. Doom. Plus, it's also that thing where it was the Fantastic Four was the first big one, so it's him going against Dr. Doom is kind of a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I get it with introducing new villains. It doesn't need to always be tell you in the issue being Spider-Man loses to Doc Ock in this one.
Yeah, which they do.
Yeah, which they do constantly.
Yeah. But I guess right now we're kind of just talking about some general themes, and then we'll focus in. But,
and anything else about general themes of the comics that you do dislike? I like Spider-Man's early design a lot. I think he looks, at least in they kind of more perfect it in the Amazing Spider-Man ones. But in Amazing Fantasy 15, he's really lanky and dopey looking. He looks like a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
When he's Spider-Man specifically, he just looks weird.
Yeah.
And I really like the design a lot. But I think for early comic book, I'm really liking them. If I'm to give a consensus, like an earlier consensus about it, how about you?
Yeah, so Brant has been focusing on Spider-Man, and I just want to say I have been reading like all the Marvel comics, which I think has been said here before.
Yeah.
Just because we got the subscription, and I'm a crazy person, but they all have just like a really cheesy, charming quality, which I'm glad that like a lot of superhero stuff has maintained to this day, where like they can kind of just make fun of themselves sometimes and stuff.
Yeah, I will say though, there is sometimes the issue, obviously, since these fucking things were written in 1960 whatever, you know, obviously there's like not very well aged things in them sometimes. Which, I mean, obviously you just kind of have to, at least for me, I kind of just close my brain off and I'm like, okay, this was written in a fucking vacuum. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's nothing like super bad in Spider-Man.
Not in the Spider-Man ones. I mean, they lean towards where it's like one of the issues we're going to talk about deals with like communism, stuff like that.
Oh, they always do that because obviously this is the 60s, so like the Red Scare is going on and stuff.
No, I know, but I'm just saying stuff like that where it's just like you look at it nowadays and you're like, holy shit, this is stupid.
Yeah. I don't know, with the communism stuff, it's more just like really funny how upset everyone is.
Yeah.
But no, I guess more like worse things is just like I was showing Brant the first Iron Man comic with the Mandarin, and just showing how the Mandarin looks, and woo boy.
Yeah, Rose is saying it would be really dumb to hold them to today's standards. I completely agree, but some people just do, which I find really weird, because they also, I gotta say, since I started reading comics, I've seen like I've been looking into more like discourse on like social media about comics, and holy shit, some people need to like calm the fuck down about like how high and mighty they think their like comic book opinion is, because Akash and I keep constantly talking about how like literally anything could be canon in these universes at any given time, and they make that like a point. Not right now, obviously, because it's like the early stuff, but like with the multiverse stuff, it's very weird how high and mighty people get about it.
It's also just like reading comics is supposed to be fun, and I'm having a lot of fun with stupid shit like reading the early Thor stuff, and it's like, bro, Loki turned the city into candy. Like, who gives a shit? It's supposed to be fun reading comics.
Yeah.
So I guess saying that, we are going to approach reading comics in a fun way, because that is what they're meant for.
Blackout asked what I'm building. I'm building a replica of the Sandman right now, so I'm hoping that comes out well. This is like the base right now. I'm gonna make it a little bit more. I don't know. I need to go take this call. Keep them.
Oh damn it! Okay, I have to entertain the masses.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys. When you're live, you don't know when a random phone call is going to pop up. It's probably just spam, though, but Brant has some work stuff that may need answering. But anyway, yeah, I keep talking about a bunch of other comics, but we are going to focus on Spider-Man. Spider-Man, I guess in my unique view, out of all the shit I've been reading, which is like Avengers, Thor, Ant-Man, a little bit of the Hulk and stuff, Spider-Man is one of my favorites because it's really fun to see how he evolves, especially when it's like one of our favorite characters, because clearly Spider-Man is just like the best Marvel superhero.
I gotta say, my phone's fucking bullshit, because it literally told me that it's like a number that I've answered to before, but it's a fucking toll number that I've like so my phone lied to me.
Oh no.
Everybody was celebrating Akasha time.
Oh yes, hell yeah.
All right, do we want to get on to it then? Sorry everybody that I had to disappear there for a second.
But yeah, so I guess now we'll just get into the specifics.
Sometimes people can spoof numbers. Yeah, true,
you're
true.
Right.
Check out a caution brand looking like a whole snack. Thank you, Rory. All right, you want to go to Amazing Fantasy 15?
Hell yeah.
All right. So this one's going to have like probably the least for us to say because it's just the origin story.
It's literally just the same fucking Spider-Man origin story you know and love.
Yeah, it's the one we literally described in like Spider-Man 1 basically. It's like the exact same thing. But we meet Peter Parker. He's a fucking loser. But he, you know, so he's a big nerd at school. Everybody makes fun of him. He has an aunt and uncle, Aunt May and Uncle Ben. They love him very, very much. They treat him really well. I like how well they treat him.
Yeah, it's very cute. Are they saying we're a 4-course meal in there?
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
You're really bumping up my ego this stream.
And I don't know what anything. Oh, I guess let's talk about some like because with this one it's kind of hard to review because it is just like Spider-Man gets bit by a radioactive spider, then he gets his powers, and Uncle Ben dies. That's the whole comic. But there's fun little things that I never knew about, like the origin story that this thing introduces. I gotta divert to say they do a funny little thing when they introduce Flash Thompson, where they have him wearing a Letterman's jacket with his first letter of his name, a T, on or not of his last name or whatever. Mm-hmm. On his sweater, and it's like I love that trope. It's such a fucking stupid bully trope, but I love it.
Mm-hmm. Also, you're all about to be fucking shocked beyond belief. Liz is the first fucking Spider-Man love interest. That is right. Liz from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, the girl that he like goes on a date with and stuff. She's like an actual character. Which I didn't know because I thought she was just a character they made because all you ever hear about is fucking MJ and Gwen Stacy. So that's kind of cool that to see like all these characters are actually real. Mm-hmm. But
also, yeah, Rose, you're right. He does get bit by the spider, and he still doesn't go to the hospital.
Yes,
he's never gone to the hospital.
He's never gonna go to the hospital. Not even once.
Nope.
But like I said, this one's kind of hard because it's just the same thing, only like slightly different. You know, he gets bit by the spider. It's not at Oscorp. That is different. It's just a random ass experiment where
there's no Oscorp.
Yeah, a spider gets zapped by just some radioactive fucking juices,
whatever the shit,
and becomes radioactive and bites Peter before it dies. So he obviously he goes out and he is instantly surprised that he has these fucking superhuman abilities and whatever.
So he goes and fights Bonesaw.
He goes and fights Crusher Hogan. Okay. That's this version of Bonesaw. But what did you like that they changed Akasha?
That they changed,
like, or not changed, that's like different, because the most I'm fucking up a little bit here. The most like the thing you can talk about the most with this issue is just the changes that they make to his origin, and that's about it. Or not changes.
The original stuff.
Yeah, the original stuff. So what is like your most liked about the original stuff?
I like that Peter is a fucking brat. He is such a brat.
Yeah, they make him a lot more like emotionally angry.
He's so angry all the time.
He really, really is.
And there's just a bunch of shit where it's like, I get it for like the time, but some of the lines he says are like school shooter lines.
Well, you can't say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can't say that.
They are though.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I know. But he says shit like, if I had powers, everyone would like bow down at my feet or whatever.
Yeah.
Just shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a thing they change a few things, like, about some things from Amazing Fantasy to Amazing 15, but him being a little bitch stays the exact same throughout, like, at least everything that we've read. He's constantly just not like a bitch, because he does get bullied really bad, but he does say some things where you're like, holy shit, Peter, can you fucking calm down for like 2 seconds here? Really out of pocket things that you're like, oh, Peter.
Just saying, like, I'm gonna pulverize Flash Thompson.
Well, and it's like, at least he's just thinking it instead of actually doing it or whatever, but it's still like really, really weird.
But Rose said, oh, like, Pete, I got money troubles, but I would be worried about the spider bite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's an interesting thing that we're going to talk about later is... Well, no, I guess we'll get to it when we get to it. It's about the money troubles, but... The biggest difference I can say about this origin that's different from everything is that when Peter realizes he has the spider powers... he instantly, like, makes it into, like, a show attraction where people go and like, pay to watch him. So he makes money off of that, kind of. There's, like, a whole thing where he, like, tries to get paid via check, but it can't work because he can't tell his identity or whatever.
Yeah.
So he gets paid in, like, money, assumedly. They never really resolve it, but assumedly he gets paid in money. You would think, at least. Smart kid, says Rose. Yeah, it's like the smartest decision you could make, probably, if you have powers. But the problem is, when he's doing this, while he's doing his show, you know, he gets all cocky and he's like, oh, everybody loves me. And one night, while working, he leaves backstage or whatever, and a guy rushes past him, and it's a guy robbing the store. So we all know where this is fucking heading. Spider-Man lets the guy who's robbing the store go. Or robbing the studio.
The showdown arena or whatever.
And obviously, later on, he figures out that man kills Uncle Ben, or, you know. Very, very sad.
I want to say as well, it's very strange because, like, it's just that Peter goes home and then the police are like, son, your uncle died. Like, it's not the thing you know from, like, the more modern stuff where he finds Uncle Ben.
Yeah, where he's, like, holding and caressing Uncle Ben. It's just the police telling him,
Yeah.
That is not a huge difference, but it is a difference that is interesting, to say the least.
I also want to say, though, that, like, so this is in Amazing Fantasy, which is one of, like, fucking... out of a bunch of comics that they were doing at the time that were not superhero related. It's just supposed to be like fantasy stories where they have a twist at the end. And so really, like, the point of this is the moral twist that, like, oh, Peter got all caught up in the fame of being Spider-Man, so like, him losing awareness and, you know, responsibility for his family and stuff, his uncle dies. But I think just because of things that I see in other comics and because of, like, the really great cover and stuff, that they definitely made Spider-Man as, like, a test to be like, I hope people really like Spider-Man so we can start writing comics about him.
Yeah, I think Stan Lee, like, they all instantly like Spider-Man and just wanted to write shit about him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's good because we all like Spider-Man, so.
And they were starting to experiment with superheroes anyway, because, like, after this, they just didn't do Amazing Fantasy anymore, and they just switched to doing the Amazing Spider-Man comic.
Yeah. But same as most of the origin story, at least the Sam Raimi one, upon learning this, Spider-Man uses his spider senses to track down the person who killed Uncle Ben, finding him in an abandoned warehouse, beating him half within his life. There's a really good shot. I'm not going to, like, do this all the time, but when there is a really good shot, I want to mention it. there's this really good shot where he's like staring at the killer for the first time and realizing who he is, and you can see Peter's like pupils behind the spider mask. It's like the scariest fucking image I've ever fucking seen. It's really good though.
You gotta change your lingo though for comics. It's a panel, bro.
Oh, whatever. Dude. I don't give a shit, dude.
If you want to review comics, you gotta do it professionally, okay?
In the panel.
Okay.
I'll just beat you within an inch of your life, Demon Lord. I don't even know what that is.
Garaham?
That's something.
How is that from?
I don't know. Let's not.
Zelda. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Yeah, we don't got time. We got too much shit to talk about.
Fuck you.
Yeah, but the comic ends with Peter walking home and realizing that with great power there must also come great responsibility.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because Uncle Ben also never says that to him, at least from our knowledge.
Yeah, that's just like Stan Lee inserting that at the end.
Yeah, it's revealed, I'm pretty sure, a lot later that Uncle Ben is supposed to be the one that says that or whatever, but as of right now, it's just a thing Spider-Man learns as a lesson.
Yeah. Oh no, you made Rose sad.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Amazing Fantasy number 15 real quick? I guess let's just talk.
I read it and I was like, bro, I've seen this a million times. I thought it was really interesting because it's like the first thing ever. And I was kind of surprised how closely it follows.
It does suck reading sometimes the origin stories when it's like, yeah, this is the original interpretation, but I also have seen this a million fucking times, which kind of sucks to, not that it's on the fault of the original comic, but it's just that Spider-Man is very much oversaturated.
Yeah, it's like we were saying, I think I've said this before, like when you read Romeo and Juliet and you're like, this fucking sucks because you've seen a million Romeo and Juliet stories.
Yeah, we know, she means how closely it follows, Rose, by like how closely we follow it today. That's what she means. Yeah,
like how it's just a story that's repeated over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
as someone who draws comics pretty much every day, I'd appreciate you get the lingo right.
I'm
JK,
trying.
I don't care.
I'm trying. All right. Amazing Spider-Man number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's gonna be the first like 3 issues of Amazing Spider-Man are all split into 2 parts. So those are probably going to be the most talked about. But this, we pick up this one basically meeting Peter like not right after Uncle Ben's death, but he died pretty soon before this, you assume, because he talks about it like it just happened. You know, and he comes to the conclusion that he's just like, man, I really wish I wasn't Spider-Man. And he says this a lot in these early comics. He's like, man, I wish I wasn't fucking Spider-Man. Just because he's like, I got my uncle killed. Which obviously that's like a thing Spider-Man constantly thinks about is that he thinks he puts other people in danger when really he's the only person that can save these people. Which is a cool... It's cool that we stick with that kind of line of thinking for Spider-Man. It's... Not to be like too pedantic about it, but it's just like seeing what like Batman and like Superman is now considerably in the comics, like how different they are portrayed, at least like by Zack Snyder and shit. It's really nice to see that Spider-Man has a lot of like similar qualities to when he was first introduced.
Yeah.
Or at least like the same qualities too. That people are like really respecting it.
Yeah, I was just looking. I think Rose likes my new catchphrase.
What's your new catchphrase?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyhow, there's also a really interesting thing within like, I guess the first 3 or 4 issues until they kind of drop it, where like it's a question of whether Peter is gonna become a menace to society.
Yeah, he constantly like questions. He's like, I could just go rob a bank right now.
Yeah, and then the Fantastic Four are like, well, we better hope he stays on our side.
Yeah, so the Fantastic Four are in this issue. They're in a lot of Spider-Man issues actually.
Yeah,
but they're like most predominant in this one, I guess. So we learned that now that Uncle Ben's fucking gone, he was like the only one providing money for the house. So now people are coming to the house, like going to May and being like, I'm gonna fucking take your house. So obviously Peter overhears all this shit and he's like, fuck, I gotta learn how to find some money. And like, I don't know, I think it's pretty viable thinking. He instantly like thinks of the Fantastic Four and he's like, oh, they're like me, so why wouldn't they hire me to like work with them? Mm-hmm. Which, I don't know, I don't see why the Fantastic Four wouldn't hire Peter. Mm-hmm.
We also get introduced to Jonah Jameson, who kind of helps with the question of whether Spider-Man's going to be a menace or not, because he immediately just starts writing shit about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, this isn't the first part? Isn't when he meets the Fantastic Four, but they are kind of. Oh no, that's for later. Shit, I fucked up. I fucked up my notes. I have a lot of notes.
Yeah, Brant has like pages upon pages of notes.
Shit. This one is gonna. I'm sorry to say it, but since this is our first fucking comic review, this is gonna be a little fucking back and forth sometimes.
It's okay. We've been doing good so far. The people are having fun.
Yeah.
They're funky little bright.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is the one about where we first meet Jonah Jameson. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next part is the Fantastic Four part. Mm-hmm. So basically, this comic is about Jonah Jameson. He's introduced into the comics, and he hates Spider-Man. Clearly.
Yeah. He's always hated Spider-Man.
What do you think? He's gonna like Spider-Man? No, he fucking hates him. And it creates a whole, problem for Spidey, where the people of the city are starting to be like, maybe Spider-Man is a menace or whatever.
Yeah.
We learn that J. Jonah has a son named John, who's an astronaut, and there's an upcoming like rocket shoot where he's going to like orbit around the Earth or whatever.
Launch.
The only this is important because this is the plot of the comic, but also because J. Jonah is like being like, oh, why can't Spider-Man be like my son, an actual hero, the astronaut and stuff like that. Not saying like astronauts aren't heroes, but to fucking look at Spider-Man and be like, oh, an astronaut that's orbiting around Earth is more important. I know that's like J. Jonah's whole fucking thing, but goddamn.
Yeah, well, he makes a point where he's like, oh, my son's face is out there in the papers, but like Spider-Man is hiding behind a mask or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Peter keeps searching for a job at this point. The money problems are still a thing. He doesn't start searching for the Fantastic Four job until later. Sorry about that again.
Oh, also, I just wanted to mention before we get too far in, another thing I wanted to know is, like, in these early Marvel comics, they cannot fucking draw, like, teenagers or kids. And so Peter literally just looks like a 40-year-old man.
Yeah, he does. A little bit.
Yeah.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah, Aunt May pawns her jewelry.
Yeah, she's like pawning her stuff, and Spider-Man's like, oh fuck, I really need to find a job. So, meanwhile, during this though, John's shuttles takes off, and it malfunctions. The guidance system to the shuttle fucking flies off.
Like the little capsule with John in it.
Yeah. If the guidance system flies off, so he doesn't know where he's going, and the media's going crazy. J. Jonah's like, fucking save my son. Nobody knows what to do at the moment, but Spider-Man instantly, jumps into action, and he goes to find the guidance thing. Or no, he goes and meets with the police and J. Jonah Jameson, and obviously Jameson's like, oh, fuck you, you're not going to save my son. And Peter is given the guidance chip, And he goes and he obviously saves John. Like, obviously he's going to save John.
Yeah, it's just all this stupid science fiction they have where there's like a little chip you can put on the capsule so John can get it back under control.
Yeah.
It's funny though.
It is funny.
Rose said, fun fact about J. Jonah Jameson. His voice actor J.K. Simmons voices Cave Johnson in Portal, who is the...
Yeah. He's like a reporter guy or something.
CEO.
Oh, the CEO. Yeah. I did know that.
I knew he was in the game, but I fucking know nothing about Portal, so...
But yeah, Spider-Man basically saves John, and, he brings him back, and he goes home, and he's like, oh, so, Jonah is no longer gonna fucking, like, write shit about me anymore. But he goes home and watches the news, and, J. Jonah Jameson basically is like, oh, Spider-Man obviously orchestrated this whole thing.
To make me like him.
Yeah, to make me like him, so obviously... fuck you, Spider-Man. And it works because even Aunt May is like kind of scared of Spider-Man. So
yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, basically the comic ends where Peter's just like, it's just like, oh, nobody likes me still.
Yeah.
It's really sad. A lot of this is like, oh, people don't like Peter, but people also don't like Spider-Man, so Peter just feels depressed all the time.
Yeah, Peter's so sad.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm making the Sandman.
Okay.
Hold on.
I like this. He has like a bowl haircut, like an office lady haircut.
Here, hold on. I can, like... Hold on.
What?
There we go. And then, like, yeah.
What?
Or no, that looks really bad. Fuck.
I think you just need to put it on the top. Like, keep the stuff in the back, but take all the stuff off the sides.
What? This stuff?
Yes.
Why? This is the side of his hair.
No. Take it off. You'll see. We'll see. Make a call, chat. Make a call about Sandman here.
Yeah, is he better with or without the side?
Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry, we're deviating from the review, but we're gonna...
This needs to be
It's a good point, because the next... It goes into the second part next. No.
Come on!
No.
Alright.
Without... Okay, Rose is saying without as well. I don't know. It's just... he has, like, a whole side of his head just bare now, though.
Yeah?
That's not how hair works.
Don't care.
What if it was, like...
He has fucking chops now.
He's like...
No, yeah.
There we go.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't care.
What villain should I start making next? I guess, because is that done, or should I...
Give him little eyes.
Yeah, I gotta give him eyes.
No.
His head.
I don't think you can. Oh, he's fine like that, then.
Wait, hold on. Let's go on. You want to start with part 2 with the Fantastic Four?
Yeah. So basically almost all of these comics within the 10 are like pertinent to like Spider-Man villains you know and love. He's looking off into the distance.
Keep going.
So the first one is the Chameleon, which I know the Chameleon isn't, like, insanely popular, but I feel like most people who know a little bit about Spider-Man know about the Chameleon. Basically, it's just, like, a guy... I don't know, the suit is so weird. You really like the suit. It has, like, a mask that's, like, plain, which kind of looks like Iron Man's mask.
It doesn't so much matter. He just disguises himself.
Yeah,
is more the important part.
I just think it's an interesting suit.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really weird. Anyway, in this comic, they keep spelling Peter's name wrong over and over again. So that's the most important thing that happens here.
Oh, Peter Palmer.
Peter Palmer. Yeah. I fucking love Peter Palmer. I like him a lot more than Peter Parker.
He's my favorite. But basically, this comic is it starts with the Fantastic Four plot that we were talking about, where it's like, oh, I could get hired by the Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. So Peter goes to the Baxter Building, which is where the Fantastic Four live.
Such a bastard.
He is such a bastard because he breaks into the Baxter Building because no one's allowed in unless they have an appointment. But he just bursts in like he fucking owns the place. And obviously alarms go off and shit. So the Fantastic Four trap him, being like, oh, we fought a bunch of villains who, like, disguise themselves as other people constantly. So even if it looks like Spider-Man, it might not be Spider-Man. But Peter... Fuck.
1 minute, Rose said, but doesn't he have shaved sides?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. All right.
He has a full head of hair. What do you mean?
Anyhow. All right, but yeah, basically Peter like kicks the Fantastic Four's asses.
Yeah, for no reason, because they're just trying to be safe, and he's like, oh, fuck you guys.
Yeah, and they figure out it is the real Spider-Man after a moment, and Reed Richards is like, oh, we can just talk about this, son, and Peter's like, oh no, I'm just gonna like, I'm just showing off some of my moves or whatever, and by showing off moves, he means beating the shit out of the Fantastic Four. He's such a bastard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but basically, they stop fighting, and Spider-Man's like, oh, can you guys hire me? But the Fantastic Four explains to him that they are a not-for-profit organization, and that every single money, like every bit of money they earn goes towards science projects. And Peter, being the little bitch he is, he's like, oh, fuck you guys. You guys are just like everybody else. And then he fucking storms off.
Yeah, he's like, that's just a front. You guys just don't want me here.
Yeah, which is bullshit, because they try to call him back and they're like, but we have like other alternatives for how we could help you.
Yeah.
But he leaves before they can even say anything.
And I want to say, too, having read Fantastic Four, they have this same fucking problem with Johnny Storm, where he's like, oh, you need to pay me money for being in the Fantastic Four, and Reed Richards is like, you know full and well we literally do not make money, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very... I like it that it goes along with Peter being like a teenager or whatever, but he's like such a bitch. Mm-hmm. Do you mean the fan-fortastic? Yes, we do mean the fan-fortastic.
Yeah, of course we do.
Fuck that movie. But basically, it's really funny that Peter like tries to beat the shit out of the Fantastic Four for thinking that he could possibly be someone else, because he literally goes and meets a villain called the Chameleon, and his whole gimmick is that he disguises himself as other people. Yeah. Really fucking weird, Peter, that people like that actually exist in that universe.
But it's another one of these things.
Fan-for-stick is how you see it. I don't know. It's such a weird fucking title that I think everybody can see it as a different way, and they're all wrong. Because that's not how you fucking spell the Fantastic Four. God damn it.
But this is just your fucking typical 60 comic book plot, which is literally the plot of every early Marvel comic, where there is some dude who is a scientist who goes, you know what? I'm kind of sick being underappreciated for being a scientist. I think I'm gonna go evil.
Yeah. Basically, the Chameleon wants to steal plans to give to communists. So that's pretty epic.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, I'm gonna create a suit where I can be anybody, and Spider-Man can be my perfect fall guy for my plot.
Yeah, so he disguises himself as Spider-Man, and he goes to steal a bunch of shit. Or he steals the plans so he can give them, and obviously the cops instantly think it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man rushes after him, has a really cool helicopter fight with him. Mm-hmm. Gets him down and like arrested basically. But as he's like delivering him to the cops, he throws a fucking smoke bomb down and escapes. Oh, well, like, he almost... How would you describe it's hard to describe exactly what happens.
So he gets away for a moment, and then he goes and disguises himself as one of the policemen who's looking for the Chameleon. Because now Spider-Man is like, they've all seen the Chameleon. They all know he's around. They all know that he was disguising himself as Spider-Man. But now he disguises himself as a policeman, and he shuts off the lights, so it's, like, more confusing for everyone. And then when the lights come back on, obviously Spider-Man is using his spider sense, so he knows who it is. But then the Chameleon at the last second, as the police officer is like, oh, bro, he's disguising as Spider-Man again, get him.
Yeah.
And so the police all tackle Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Well, no, it's not funny because Peter literally leaves the battle fucking sobbing because he's like, oh, fuck it, no one's gonna believe me anyway.
Yeah.
He leaves the battle before the Chameleon's even, like, done.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason the Chameleon gets caught is because in the final scuffle with Spider-Man, he rips his outfits, revealing to the officers who he really is or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he finally gets arrested, but we end the story with Peter being like, fuck this fucking sucks.
I hate being Spider-Man.
It's not like just regular guys. It's people who actually want to destroy the Earth. It's more of an environmental message than a political one.
Oh, I think Rose was talking about, like a story that she has, like a story idea.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes,
See?
sorry.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't read the top message.
Yep.
I was too busy looking at my notes. Alright, but that's Amazing Spider-Man #1. What do you think, Akasha?
I think, I kind of really like that from the start they include everyone, like, Fantastic Four knows about Spider-Man and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see they're already trying to make, like, a world that is jointly impacted by all this superhero and supervillains bullshits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I really like that part. I think the fight at the end where he's, like, tricking them into thinking it's Spider-Man and stuff is really good. But, like, the Chameleon, I'm just like, whatever about the Chameleon as a villain. You know what I mean?
I would disagree. I kind of like him a lot. I like his design.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, we've only seen him the once, so I can't be like, oh, he's my favorite, but I liked him.
Yeah.
For what it was worth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll go on to Amazing Spider-Man #2.
Mm-hmm.
This one's got the Vultures. The Vulture.
Which apparently becomes a huge fan favorite.
Yeah, apparently people fucking love the Vulture.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's just because it's, like, the first big villain that Spider-Man fights. Because, like, the Tinkerer, it's, like, its own, like, sub-story within another sub-story.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's why people were so, like... Yeah, just because people were liking Spider-Man anyway.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that, by the way?
I like that.
Yeah.
It looks like he's being eaten by the sand.
No, he is the sand.
I know.
Alright, what villain should I make next? Real quick. Chat, anyone got a villain that I should make from Spider-Man?
I'm trying to think of something that would be, like, intermediate level hard.
Well, bro, this is a Sandman. He looks like shit.
Oh my god. Make Venom.
Okay. I don't know how the fuck you expect me to do that.
Actually, I guess it should be one of the villains from these 10, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, then, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the... I don't know. What?
Make the Lizard.
Okay. Another green-based villain.
Yeah.
Alright.
They're all green. Literally fucking Electro, Dr. Doom, Doc Ock, they're all fucking green.
Yeah, actually, you're right. They are all green. I didn't even realize that they are all fucking green.
They're the green meanies.
The green meanies.
The greenies.
The greenies, yes. But alright, Amazing Spider-Man #2. Spider-Man fights the Vulture.
And a Tinkerer.
And a Tinkerer in part 2, but this is just part 1.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, this is the one where Spider-Man goes to get hired by the Daily Bugle. That's like the whole point of this, basically.
Not hired. He's a freelancer.
A freelancer. He works for the Daily Bugle.
Yes,
whatever.
But he's a freelancer, which is important.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, he enlists to take a picture of the new villain that's appeared around town, the Vulture, because no one is able to take a picture of him because he's so fucking fast. And obviously, under the guise of Spider-Man, he's going to go out and take pictures so that he can finally start to get some money so he can help out Aunt May.
Yas.
But...
Point A... Vulture looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, Vulture looks really, really cool.
I love the thing they always do where they make it so the Vulture, even like just with this human being part, they make him look like a vulture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really good. Point B, Flash is a bully.
Oh, yeah, Flash is just being... The thing is, it's like, Flash is just here to be a bully to Peter Parker for right now. I mean, he becomes a little bit more in, like, a few issues later on. But right now, he's just here to bully the fuck out of Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, Peter goes out for the first time to take pictures of the Vulture. And he messes up really badly by, like, snapping a twig or moving a brick or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Vulture finds him and takes him and shoves him into a
water tower?
Yeah, a water tower. He, like, knocks him out and shoves him into a water tower so that he'll drown there. And the bad part is Peter did run out of web fluid. So he's, like, actually trapped in there. Mm-hmm. So as he wakes up, he's like, oh shit, what the fuck, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get out of here? All that. But he's like, oh wait, I just have like superhuman strength. Why don't I just like pump my leg really, really hard at the bottom and I'll just shoot to the top, which he does.
Yeah, he fucking launches out of the hole of the water tower.
Yeah, he does.
And then he goes back to his lab and he's like, secretly, he's like, bruh, I think I know how the Vulture does his Vulture thing, so I'm gonna make a secret, sneaky little device to stop the Vulture.
This looks so much more like the Hulk right now than it does the Lizard, but the Lizard literally wears the same outfit.
I know. Well, he wears that big purple coat.
Oh, wait, is it a purple coat? I thought it was purple pants.
No. He doesn't wear purple pants. He wears a big, long purple coat.
What is his pants color?
He doesn't wear pants.
Oh shit, he's naked?
He's fucking naked, dude.
Oh my god.
Or wait, he does wear purple pants.
Yeah,
he wears purple pants and a purple jacket.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
I was like, there's no way he's just flopping his big lizard cock out in the comic. But no, Peter goes home and he works on a device that he knows will shut down the Vulture's flying device.
Yeah, because he's like the only one who's figured out how it works.
Yeah. Which it like works by magnets. They don't explain it other than it's like, oh, he uses the magnets. Yeah,
the fucking excuse for all the bullshit in all of these comics, all these Marvel comics, is 1, atomic radiation, 2, magnets, 3, transistors. Whatever that means. Transistors.
Mm-hmm.
But Peter also gives like some fucking dope images of the Vulture to J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, when he goes back.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, while Peter has been making this device, the Vulture has been going out and he's been giving news sources like a warning, being like, hey, I know there's a huge fucking diamond shipment going through. I'm gonna fucking steal it. And he's, like, basically just giving a big note being like, you're never going to catch me, even if you know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And it becomes this really big event where everybody, like, all these people are just, like, fucking staring at these people delivering the diamonds. And obviously the cops are like, oh, the Vulture flies in the air, so let's get, like, helicopters, people aiming at the air, shit like that. The people with the diamonds get there, and they walk over a manhole, and the fucking Vulture pops out like a jack-in-the-box out of the sewers, and grabs the diamonds and, like, fucks off into the sewers and flies around. It's really cool.
Yeah, and then he goes soaring through the shit air of the sewers.
He smells the shit, and he goes, it's like home.
Bleh.
He throws up in his face because he's flying so fast.
That's fucked up. But he pops out through the subway.
Yeah, and Peter was watching with everybody else, so he goes and he finds him using his spider sense or whatever, and he uses his device and he defeats the Vulture, basically.
Yeah, basically the device was another stupid bullshit answer that means nothing, where Peter's like, yeah, it was like like reversing the magnetic pole. And it's just like, the only reason it sounds like bullshit is because the original explanation for why the Vulture can fly is bullshit.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's magnets. It works because it's magnets.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're just supposed to believe it, but you're like, but that's
stupid.
That's stupid. How does that work?
It's okay though, like we said, it's comics.
Yeah, it's comics, so it's like you don't, especially early 60s, so you're just kind of like, fuck it, the Vulture can fly, who cares?
Yeah, you're like, whatever, everyone can just get tossed a fucking fastball of atomic radiation and that works for whatever.
Yeah, so we basically end the day where Peter snaps a couple more pics of the Vulture or whatever to take to Jay.
And he gets a big fat chunk of cash.
Yeah, which basically his and Aunt May's money troubles are like over now.
Yeah, he says, Aunt May, I'm gonna buy you a new washing machine.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Yeah! Good for you, Aunt May.
And that's the end.
Well, we also end off with the Vulture in prison swearing his vengeance on.
Yeah, and they do that stupid bullshit that bothers me where they put the Vulture in jail in his Vulture suit.
Oh, yeah. They do that.
I hate that they do this in everything. Don't put a criminal in jail with his super suit.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's one of those things that constantly, like, appears, and it's very, very weird.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, so now we're on to part 2 of this comic.
The Terrible Tinkerer.
This part, this is
boring.
like, is so dumb. It's not even that it's boring, it's really dumb. Because it's, so we start off, Peter's at school, and one of his teachers brings in like a really good, like famous scientist or whatever. And, oh shit.
He's like, he needs a student to help him with his scientific projects. Peter, you are very smart. Why don't you do it?
Yeah.
And Peter's like, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it. So he goes, but the guy is like, hey, if you're going to stop by my place, can you grab... Oh shit, I used the wrong color green. I should have been using this the whole time. He's like, can you grab my radio that I put...
Sent to get repaired.
Yeah, can you pick it up on your way to meet me? So Peter goes to pick up the radio, and this is where we meet the Tinkerer, who owns this radio repair shop, right? And Peter, the second he gets the radio, basically his spider senses like will not stop going off, and he goes and he meets with the doctor, whatever stupid bullshit where they're like, "Oh, you're so smart, Peter. You're
smart, Peter. Why don't I just suck you off some more?"
Peter, you taste so good.
Shut up.
But basically, yeah, it's just Peter's like, holy shit, my spidey sense will not stop, and it's gotta be because of that fucking radio. So the doctor leaves, and he's like, okay, gotta open this bad boy up. Gotta blast. Gotta fucking get out of here. No, he opens up the radio, and he finds a little camera, and he's like, obviously the
spying?
Yeah, the Tinkerer spying on people or whatever. So he suits up and he goes out
to investigate the shop.
Yeah, and
the Tinkerer's sitting there with like a bunch of aliens.
Yeah, there's a bunch of aliens, and basically
the
they explain that the Tinkerer works with these aliens because they want to take over the Earth. They don't really explain why he wants to work with them, but he does. It's cool, I guess. Whatever. It's so stupid. So Spider-Man goes in, he fights some aliens, and the Tinkerer zaps him with a big gun, And he's like, he's like, oh fuck, we gotta kill Spider-Man now, or he's gonna tell everybody what we're doing here. He's gonna tell everybody that I'm fucking aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So he puts him in a big like
bubble.
Yeah. And it sucks out the air, but Peter does this really cool thing where they like explain all the mechanics to his web shooter. Also, if you hear a high pitched thing, that's just our heater. They explain like the mechanics to his web shooters, and he unhooks like a safety clip that he has in case, and he unhooks it and he shoots it through like a little pinhole in the pod that he's trapped in. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses that to like press a button to escape, and then he kicks the shit out of the aliens.
And just incidentally, the fucking lab gets set on fire.
Yeah, the Tinkerer escapes.
The aliens leave in their spaceship.
Yeah.
And then there's a weird cliffhanger that I don't get if I'm supposed to take it like the Tinkerer was an alien too or whatever, because they say that Peter pulled off his mask.
Yeah,
and they don't show who it is.
Yeah, either the idea is that he's an alien or he's just someone that we don't know.
Person? Yeah. And then we still don't have an explanation for it. I don't know who the fuck the Tinkerer is.
Yeah.
But Peter was like, he's like, oh, I wouldn't have believed what happened if I didn't pull off his mask. And I'm like, who is it then?
Wait, so is the idea that Peter saw it? Is that what you got from it? Because I thought it was that no one saw it.
No, look, he's holding the mask right there.
No, I know, but he didn't see his face, though, did he?
No, he did.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know who the fuck it is.
Okay.
I'm at a loss. I don't know.
I didn't realize that he sees it, but we don't.
Yeah.
That's very weird.
Yeah, I was really weirded out by that ending. I was like, what? What happened?
Yeah.
But anyhow,
Amazing Spider-Man #2, what's your thoughts?
I don't like the Tinkerer part very much.
Tinkerer part, I first read it and I was like, oh, this is fine, or whatever. Reread it again because I had to do the notes. And I was like, this is fucking boring as shit. I don't like this at all.
It's just boring. I really like the Vulture, though. And I think I just like the Vulture a lot because really the most impactful thing you can get out of these Marvel comics that, like, impresses you in the 60s is you're like, man, they look really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Vulture just looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks awesome.
He does look really cool, I agree.
And I think in the because we're gonna review it in this in the next Vulture comic, they really actually improve on the Vulture.
Yeah.
It's a really good comic. It's one of my favorite ones, the next one, like the Return of the Vulture or whatever. But yeah, so after this point, I'm pretty sure it's after this point, right? They don't do the split up 2 comics anymore.
They do it for the one where there's like the one shot where he meets the Human Torch that we'll talk about later. But I think, basically the rest of them are
just single stories.
Single stories.
Which is better.
Yeah, which is so much better. I much prefer it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Completely.
Yeah.
But, so what? We're on issue 4?
Yeah. Issue 3.
Issue 3, sorry.
Yes.
The first issue where Spider-Man fights Doc Ock.
Yeah, it has an awesome cover as well. I love this cover.
It does have a really good cover. It's like Spider-Man being held up by the tentacles by like a mysterious man or whatever. Obviously, we know it's
Doc Ock.
Yeah, so basically, speed run through this. Doc Ock, just a scientist. He gets trapped in some
atomic energy.
Atomic energy. It's basically the same as Spider-Man 2, where it's just like he gets zapped and then all of a sudden he wants to do all of his experiments again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty similar actually for what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except it's just like it's not like that he's trying to make like a big power source. It's just that he's handling materials that are radioactive.
Yeah.
And that's why he needs the tentacles. But yeah, he looks like such a nerd. He looks like
Doc Ock?
Yeah, he looks like such a big
Well, I mean, but Alfred Molina honestly looks exactly like that in the...
I know.
It's funny.
It's weird because, like, Alfred Molina is a really good looking guy, but like in the comics, Doc Ock looks like such a fucking dweeb.
He does, yeah, no, I agree.
It's funny.
But so we start with Peter stopping some criminals, and the only reason that I bring this up is because they introduced that he made the spider signal, which is like a big light that shows like his Spider-Man face.
Yeah, it's like the bat signal.
Yeah, it's like the bat signal, but it's like to alert cops when he's like finished beating up someone, basically. How are you liking this so far?
I'm liking it.
I'm not liking his arms.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about the arms.
Maybe I'll just make them huge fucking arms.
Oh my god. Oh my god, is that the lizard?
That is the lizard. Alright, but... yeah, Otto gets fucking messed up in a radioactive incident that fuses the arms to his body.
Yeah. Also, they have a thing, like an explanation with atomic energy that they also use for a lot of bullshit, where it's like, oh, if you get hit with atomic energy, your personality changes. So, like, his personality has changed where he's like, oh, everyone's jealous of my work. Like,
yeah.
They just don't want me to finish my ultimate scientific work or whatever.
But Spider-Man goes to visit J. Jonah Jameson. And Otto is like huge news now, so he wants pictures of Otto, but he's like in the hospital, like under guard, so no one can get in. So he sends Peter, because he's like, oh, Peter can get literally any picture. Every picture I've asked him to get, he gets. So he sends Peter. Peter goes and he like meets Doc Ock. He becomes, he's like fully turned into like a psychopath at this point, where he's like holding the whole hospital wing in hostage so that he can continue his experiments in the hospital. He gets them to like bring all of the materials and shit. But they fight, and fucking Dr. Octopus kicks Spider-Man's ass like so quickly.
Yeah.
And
well, also an important thing to mention about this is at the beginning they do a cheeky little thing where Spider-Man is like, bruh, I don't have any like really powerful enemies to fight. This is like getting boring. And then he gets his fucking ass kicked by Doc Ock, and then he runs away with his tail tucked between his legs like, I think this is too hard for me now.
He's literally like, oh, this is the end of Spider-Man. I can't do shit. So he goes home, goes to school the next day, and there's an assembly going on where Johnny Blaze is talking to the kids because he's sick, I guess, so he has nothing better to do.
Yeah.
So he goes to talk to a bunch of the kids to give them like an inspirational speech about being a hero and shit like that. And obviously, you know, Peter's there, and his words really hit home for Peter, which I think it's really cool. It's like to see just like a random superhero like this Human Torch. I know it's not so much random because it's like the Fantastic Four or whatever, but it's like you don't see anything like that in the MCU really, where it's like, oh, some random superhero talks to Spider-Man and it gives him like the courage to continue on with like the current battle. It's like he listens to what Johnny Storm has to say and he's like, you know what, you're right, you're absolutely,
you are so right, bro.
Yeah, and he goes back to fight Doc Ock, but this time he makes a little advantage for himself. He makes this cool like rope thing where he hooks a bunch of his web canisters to it. So he goes in to fight Doc Ock, and he like lassos his arms together with the rope, but smashes the canister so that it like fuses Doc Ock's arms together. Really, really cool. There's a really long fight between Doc Ock and Spider-Man. Really, it's like one of the coolest ones, and that I would say it's like Spider-Man constantly has to like hold two arms while he's also getting like the shit kicked out of him with like other arms and stuff like that.
Well, the cool thing is that like Doc Ock uses the two arms fused together as an advantage, so he uses it as like a club or to like loop like Peter with it.
Yeah. it's a very cool fight, but it ends up with Peter being victorious, obviously, and that's basically it. Peter saves the day. He goes as Spider-Man, and he like vaguely thanks Johnny Storm, and Johnny Storm's like, "What did I do? I don't even know what I did." And then Spider-Man leaves, and that's the end of the comic.
We get a cute little pinup of Spider-Man.
Yeah. So that's Amazing Spider-Man number 3. What were your thoughts, Akasha?
Sweet and simple. I liked it.
Yeah, it's like one of the best ones to me. I really like it.
I also like how it's a little different from a lot of the other stuff where like usually how it goes is someone comes up with like a clever way to defeat the villain and then it just works.
Mm-hmm.
But with this, I like the added on thing where Doc Ock, they make his character where it's like he's smart enough where he can try to use the thing that Peter used against him as an advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just really liked that part. I thought it gave a little more dynamics to the fight.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it a lot.
And now we're on to my favorite one that you think is just fine.
Well, no, I think it's good. You have yet to like tell me why it's like the best one. I don't know.
I did.
Well, no, I don't know. So this is the one where it's not that it's like a bad comic either. I think it's a really good one. I just think they're all... I mean, there's obviously like ones that are worse than other ones, but I think they're all consistently pretty good, at least in my opinion.
Well, yeah, it's just like funny little 1960s writing.
But we start with Spider-Man tracking a trio of bank robbers, or would-be bank robbers. But Spider-Man preemptively jumps the gun because his spider sense goes off, and he attacks them before they even rob the bank. And obviously that's a big dumb decision he makes because then they instantly are like, "Oh, Spider-Man's just randomly attacking us. Somebody please help us."
Yeah.
And
like, how do you know we were gonna attack the bank?
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like Spider-Man's even like, "Oh fuck, why did I do that? That was stupid."
Yeah.
But he instantly, Spider-Man's like, "Oh, this is only because Jonah Jameson is like talking shit about me."
And like inflaming people against him.
Yeah. So he goes and he webs J. Jonah Jameson's chair.
Oh no, that doesn't happen yet.
Yeah, it does. He does it right here. Go. He does it right here. And then the part with go forward. What? Go forward. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
What are you talking about?
When he meets Jonah, he gives him pants.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
I have all this shit written down.
Okay, bro. Okay.
I actually took notes, bro.
Okay. Well, I'm just looking at it, dude.
Yeah, and you were still wrong, fucker.
Shut up. Shut up.
Here's my lizard.
Bruh. I really like your lizard.
Yeah, here's the backside.
Oh, I really like your lizard. Your lizard looks good.
Yeah, I hope everybody else likes the lizard. All right, who's the next villain I should make real quick?
Oh my god. Make Electro.
Make Electro? Okay. Yeah. Shit, it's hard because they're all fucking green.
I know, they're all fucking green motherfuckers.
I hate it. I wish there was a little bit more variety in the colors of their costumes. Now that I'm like actually making them, I'm like, holy shit, why is there no like red?
Why are they all fucking green though?
And why are they all green though? No, but while doing the prank on J. Jonah Jameson, Spider-Man spots someone trying to break into the Daily Bugle, and he goes to fight him, and as he's punching him, he's like, what the fuck? He's made of sand.
He's like, whoa, wait a minute, this motherfucker made of sand.
He's like, why are my fists just going straight through this guy?
Some sort of Sandman or something?
Yeah, so Spider-Man continues to fight him, but in the middle of the fight, his mask fucking rips in half, revealing his face. Luckily, it's in a moment where he's like away from Sandman, but given the fact that obviously he doesn't want to expose his identity, he needs to leave the fight now.
Yeah.
So he does. And he goes home, and while he's sewing the mask up, he's watching the news, and on the news they're doing a special on Flint Marko, which is the guy who he just fought, explaining how he becomes the Sandman. Do you want to...
Yeah, it's just basically he was on a beach and he got hit with radiation.
Well, you were saying you like it better as an explanation than like the Spider-Man 3 explanation.
I do, and it's very it might be a little hypocritical of me, but I don't care because I'm going to explain and then you're all going to agree with me. But so in Spider-Man 3, it's that he comes across, like, he falls into an atomic test with sand, like a big spinny thing with sand in it and atomic energy, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of fucking stupid. In this, to me, it makes sense, because what is happening is they're doing an atomic test with like a bomb, which they were doing that in the 60s, and he's on a beach, and their explanation is that the effect that the radiation had on him was that his atoms like fused with the atoms of the sand.
Yeah, I honestly think it's a really good explanation.
Yeah, which in principle is the same thing as in the movie. I just don't like it in the movie because why are they like doing this weird turbine spinny thing atomic test with sand? I'm just like, what was the purpose of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas here I'm like, I know the purpose of the test they were doing.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to explain for the audience what you were trying to say
about
it. But yeah, Spider-Man goes home, sews up his mask. I mean, do you want to just talk about the fight between him and... Because it's like, you fucking adore this fight.
I love this fight. This is why I like this comic so much. Because, okay, so what happens is he goes to school.
Peter does.
Yeah, Sandman goes to school. Peter goes to school, and, like... in the midst of it, the Sandman is, like, you know, doing criminal things, and then he's just like, oh, I know how to not get caught. I'll just go into this high school. which doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's the way he phrases it, because you could just be like, oh, he's gonna go take hostages, but no, the thing he literally says is like, oh, it'll be really safe in a high school. And I'm like, not with you there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he goes in there and he starts terrorizing Peter's classroom while he's out of the class doing something.
Yeah, he demands that the principal give him a diploma because he never graduated high school.
Which is really funny.
That is really funny. I forgot about that part until we were just talking about it.
It's just funny that, like, from that you assume that his nature is like, everywhere I go I need to get something, even if it's like the stupidest bullshit I do not need, including a high school diploma.
Yeah. Yeah, it's stupid, but it's really, really funny. So yeah, it's Spider-Man obviously shows up.
Person.
Yeah.
Whammy to the jaw.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, so he like gets him out of the classroom during the fight, and everyone is like cheering on Spider-Man, like, go get him, Spider-Man, get Sandman. I just think it's fun because it's like in a really different setting where everybody is there. And,
yeah. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. And it's just really cool in that, like, it really feels like Peter is always on his toes, because it's like, how do you defeat a guy you can't really punch? And Sandman is just like, at the second, like every second, just being like, oh, now my fist is hard, oh, now I'm like soft, and he traps Spider-Man's arm in his chest.
Yeah.
When he goes to punch him. I just think it's really fun the mechanics they do with the sand, because they also have a thing where, like, to get his arm free, Spider-Man smashes Flint Marco's head into, like, a stair railing.
Yeah.
And it stuns him so badly he just becomes sand. But
yeah, the way Spider-Man wins the day is he sucks him up with a vacuum that the janitor was using.
Yeah.
Which I kind of do really like that too.
But yeah, and then he fakes some pictures of his fight with Sandman because he had no time to take pictures.
Oh yeah, he just grabs a bunch of sand and takes pictures of him as Spider-Man, like just punching the sand.
Yeah, it's really funny. And Jonah Jameson is like, these pictures are fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good.
How do you like my legging for Electro?
I like it a lot. I like what you're doing.
It does.
there.
It's not looking like him specifically, but I'm trying here.
Yeah, no, I really like it.
But yeah, that's basically that's Spider-Man number 4. You know what? Talking about it and hearing, see, that's the explanation I wanted.
Okay.
That's what I needed to hear.
All right.
You've kind of swayed me more to your side of that. That is like probably the best one out of all of them.
Well, isn't the fight just so incredible?
The fight is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But now
Bruh.
What?
Spider-Man fights Doctor Doom.
Yeah, well, wait, we should talk about issue 4 real quick.
Oh, yeah.
What we liked. I mean, obviously you fucking liked it.
I mean, yeah, I really went out of my way to show that I just really like it. I don't know. It also, interestingly enough, because I never thought that Sandman was that interesting. Even with doing the movie reviews that we just did, I'm like, I don't give a shit about Sandman. I do not like Sandman.
Really?
Yeah. But, and like, I didn't really say much about it because it's not like I hate Sandman. I just didn't think he was that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this one, it's not like they even do anything that different, but it's just like, compared to all the other comics, if you have a really dynamic comic like that with a really good villain and a really good fight, it just makes all the difference. And I was just like, oh, these sand powers are actually kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Did you have anything to say?
No. I mean, you said it all. It's just it is a solid comic.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I disagree because I really like the Sandman personally, but
Mm-hmm.
I fucked up.
Oh no!
It's okay. I can fix it.
Okay. But yeah, do you want to talk about the Doctor Doom one now?
Yeah. So we're on Amazing Spider-Man issue number 5. So this is Spider-Man versus Doc Doom. So we meet Spider-Man, and he's getting bullied by Flash Thompson as per fucking usual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's basically, yeah, he just gets bullied. He says some more shit that you're like, Peter, just chill out for like a second.
Yeah,
like,
why would you say that?
Yeah, why would you say that like ever?
He says, you'll go too far and you'll never know what hit you. There's even a limit to Spider-Man's patience.
He does say that. But we then smash cut to Doctor Doom, who's chilling out in one of his fucking offices. I don't fucking know.
His many offices around New York City.
I guess. And he's like, oh shit, Spider-Man's pretty epic. If we work together, imagine how much damage we could do against, like, the world. So he
says specifically the Fantastic Four because he said every time the fights between me and the Fantastic Four have come to a stalemate. So if I just had one thing to push me over the edge to defeat the Fantastic Four, then I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is aligning with Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I forgot that part. Mm-hmm. I thought he was just more like, oh, Spider-Man's really fucking strong. Let's just kick ass together.
No, he specifically wants to defeat the Fantastic Four.
I mean, yeah, no shit, I guess.
Yeah.
So he sends out a
spider signal.
Yeah, he traps an arachnid into a big bubble, and he makes the arachnid scream so loud that like Spider-Man can hear it from a distance, basically.
fucked up.
It's fucking stupid, but Peter hears the call, and he instantly rushes out, and he meets Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom's like, hey, join up with me. And Spider-Man's like, are you fucking stupid? Why would I ever join up with you?
You're
like,
Doctor Doom.
You're Doctor Doom. You're like, you would... It's he brings up a good point. He's like, you would obviously probably betray me at some point as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not even if I, like, even if I wanted to join you, and like obviously Doctor Doom probably fucking would.
Mm-hmm.
So he like shoots a bunch of web at Doctor Doom, trapping him, but obviously it's a Doom bot because
of course it is.
Yeah, because Doctor Doom has a bunch of Doom bots. They have a little bit of a skirmish, but Spider-Man's like, oh shit, I can't do anything. I gotta get out of here. So he jumps out the window and swims into the ocean. Goes back home, and you know, what happens with J. Jonah? I'm sorry, I kind of was doing so much note taking, but I was also so busy that I didn't get to do all of the notes. So now I'm at the point where I'm kind of a little
fried at the end of your notes.
Yeah.
No, all that happens really is he goes over there to give him some pictures, and J. Jonah Jameson is like, I don't want these stupid fucking pictures. And then Betty Brant is like, well, I think the pictures are kind of good. Also, I think you're kind of jealous of Spider-Man, J. Jonah Jameson. And that's like the first introduction we get of like Betty Brant being kind of like interested in Peter Parker, because she just says subtle things like, oh, you're a pretty cool kid, Peter, or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean?
But basically, we flash and we see Flash.
Yeah, we see Flash.
We do see Flash. Flash is gonna pull the most ultimate fucking prank.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna disguise himself as Spider-Man, so that he's gonna find Peter Parker, and he's gonna jump out in front of him as Spider-Man, and it's gonna fucking make Peter Parker piss his pants, basically.
Yeah,
Peter
I don't
Parker
know why.
piss his pants. Say that 5 times fast.
I don't fucking know why that he would think that would frighten Peter, but
yeah. So he goes out to freak Peter out as Spider-Man, but in the meantime, Doctor Doom is looking for Spider-Man, and he sees Flash Thompson disguised as Spider-Man, and he's like, oh, that's fucking Spider-Man. And he instantly kidnaps him and takes him so that he can torture him.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
Yeah. Peter figures this out because everybody's like, oh, have you seen
Flash go?
Have you seen Flash? He kind of was gonna epically prank you, Peter.
Yeah. And I guess Liz kind of suggests that she likes Peter because he's the first one she contacts about finding Flash.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you really think Peter Parker is such a pathetic little bitch, why would you contact him to go find Flash?
Yeah. I completely agree. But yeah, so Peter's like, do I even help Flash Thompson? Because he's such a dick.
Because he's such a fucking prick.
Yeah, but obviously, Doctor Doom makes like a public announcement. He's like, I got Spider-Man and I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, he's like, Fantastic Four, you better come rescue Spider-Man.
Yeah. But the real Spider-Man shows up and he's like, oh shit. I can't fight Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four at the same time. So he fights Spider-Man for a while, being like, oh fuck, I hope I can take him out in time. But Spider-Man's just too...
Spider-Man absolutely hands Doctor Doom a whooping.
He does. He kicks
really
his ass.
does.
He really does. Like, Doctor Doom will, like... It's a really, really long fight, so we can't describe everything, but Doctor Doom does shit where he, like, fires a huge laser at Spider-Man.
Yeah. But
Spider-Man just sucks up the power of the laser, and he shoots back webs that are, like, basically bullets at Doctor Doom.
Yeah. He just has... It's so funny because I have read all the issues of the Fantastic Four up until this point. The Fantastic Four do not kick Doctor Doom's ass as soundly as Spider-Man does in this comic.
Yeah, so basically, you know, Spider-Man holds his own against Doctor Doom. And it's enough time that the Fantastic Four show up, and Doctor Doom's like, oh, fuck, I gotta be a little...
He starts screaming and pissing his pants.
He literally does, though.
Yeah, he goes, I can't fight the Fantastic Four, too. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so he leaves. And Spider-Man basically wins the day.
He frees Flash.
Yeah, he frees Flash. Well, no, actually,
frees Flash.
Actually, the Fantastic Four do, and they like make fun of him because they instantly realize he's not Spider-Man. Which I think is really funny.
Holy shit, this is a long fucking fight. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's like almost all of the comic.
Yeah, I was flipping through it. I'm like, when does this fight fucking end?
Yeah, so that's Amazing Spider-Man number 5. What did you think, Akasha?
I really like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I like Doctor Doom a lot. I think he's really fun.
Yeah, I really, really, really like Doctor Doom as a villain. And I just really, I don't know, I just liked how there was a focus on the fight. I don't need all the comics to be a focus on the fight, obviously, but it was just such a good fight where Doctor Doom was doing shit that Doctor Doom would do, being like, oh yeah, I set up this lab with like a fucking fire laser in here. Oh, also there's a trapdoor. Oh, also there's like a dome with like no oxygen in it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, Doctor Doom would set up all that shit.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Hold on. I just need to find like a tan.
But yeah, I was kind of surprised by how well the two characters meshed together, because...
Well, yeah, seeing it, I was like, oh, fuck, they're gonna really meet, like, this soon.
Yeah, I know, I was not excited. I was just like, I want Spider-Man to fight Spider-Man villains. I don't need fucking Doctor Doom in this shit. But then I was like, you know what? I really like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's the final conclusion, is that we were expecting something weird just because it's like we want to see the new Spider-Man stuff, but we got something really good out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then on to number 6, right? Which is...
The Lizard.
The Lizard.
The Lizard.
Yeah. So basically, in Florida, there's a fucking issue. Well, I mean, when isn't there?
Yeah.
In Florida, there's an issue, and
Florida Man becomes Lizard.
Yeah, Florida Man becomes Lizard. So Dr. Kirk Connors, you know the story. He fucking lost his arm. He needs a new one. So he fucking injects himself with lizard juice. Now you might be thinking, wait, he's in Florida, but Spider-Man lives in New York. Yes, Spider-Man does live in New York. That's a problem.
You're correct, viewer.
You are a very smart viewer. So he goes to J. Jonah and he's like, hey, we should go to Florida. We should get some pictures of this fucking lizard, because everybody's talking about it and no one's getting really good pictures of it.
And they're saying Spider-Man might fight the lizard.
Yeah, so that's like the little push that J. Jonah Jameson needs, and he's like, okay, fuck it. We're gonna go to Florida. So him and Peter go to Florida, and Peter instantly leaves him and goes to fight the lizard.
In the Everglades swamps.
Yeah. So we meet the lizard, and then we meet his wife and son.
Billy.
Billy's his son. Do you know his wife's name?
They didn't say his wife's name.
Oh, okay.
The son's Billy.
Yeah, we got Dr. Kirk Connors and Billy, I guess.
Yeah.
But we...
His wife explains the whole thing where she's just like, bruh, he wanted his arm back, so he became a lizard. That's what she says.
Yeah, that's exact verbatim what she says.
And then as they're talking, the fucking lizard shows up.
Yeah.
He's like trying to communicate with his son, and it doesn't work because Billy's really like scared of him. It's really sad when I say it like that. It's really goofy in the comic, but yeah, Spider-Man comes and scoops up Billy, and he's like, bro, you are a lizard now. You will not fucking touch this kid, dude.
So the lizard basically fucks off, and then Spider-Man's like, oh, okay, I'm really smart, so let's create a cure. So he basically sits down and creates the cure, no issue.
Yeah.
And it's like...
The green goop.
Yeah, it's not to be like... It's always a thing where Peter Parker's like, oh, he's so smart, he can do all this shit. But
anything, bro.
But it's like, how does he just show up at this random-ass, like, lab that he's never been at, and then instantly know how to, like...
Make a lizard serum?
Yeah. I don't know.
Make an anti-lizard serum.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a little dumb, but it's whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, so he creates the lizard thing,
and he does this funny thing where he makes paddles with his web so he can go into the Everglades to find the lizard.
Yeah, I gotta say, one of my favorite things is all the constant things they do to like his webbing. Like they make him he'll make my favorite, the fucking web parachute. I fucking love the web parachute.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like one of my favorite Spider-Man things they do, is constantly like making him have like different things he does with his webs. I forgot that he makes a fucking oar.
Yeah, but he finds the lizard like going completely nuts, where he's talking to these alligators and he's like, bruh, I will give human juice to all the reptiles so they can become half man, half reptile like me. So actually, interestingly enough, his motives are reversed in this than your usual lizard story. He doesn't want to turn everyone into lizards. He wants to turn lizards into everyone.
That's really deep, bro.
It is really deep. And the for some reason the alligators are like super powered and under control of the lizard.
Oh yeah, you're right. You are correct about that.
So they have this fight with the lizard and these stupid alligators. And they're just fucking like bouncing around these ruins of like an old Spanish mission from the 1600s. And then Peter just pours the human juice on him, and
the human juice.
The human juice. And he's like, "Hey, buddy, you're Dr. Kurt Connors again." And then he goes and hugs his wife. Kurt Connors does, not Spider-Man. That would be wrong.
Yeah, this one's kind of lackluster a little bit. The last thing, he goes and brings the pictures of the lizard to J. Jonah Jameson, and J. Jonah Jameson tears them up because Peter, for some reason, is like, oh, I got these pictures from someone else, not myself. I got them from someone else. So J. Jonah Jameson's like, oh, they're clearly fucking fake. Mm-hmm. So he tears them up and they just go home. Mm-hmm. And he takes money out of Peter's paycheck.
For the Florida trip.
Florida trip, yeah. I don't know why Peter says he gets the pictures from someone else. Yeah. I really don't understand that, but whatever, I guess.
He says like he got them from a Native American guide or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think the most fun part of this is just the gimmick where he goes to Florida.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just like, it's another one of those things where you're like, I've seen it before. You know what I mean? I've seen the lizard story. It's kind of interesting where he wants to turn the lizards into people, but I don't know. I've always thought that the lizards' fucking motivations, no matter what, are stupid as hell.
Yeah, they always kind of make him like so lame.
Yeah, I kind of wish he was just like, just kind of like how we're watching Ultimate Spider-Man, and he's just like a beast who is like out of control. Mm-hmm. But instead they always give this extra thing where it's like
he wants to turn things into lizards, or he needs the lizards to do something else. Yeah. I'm
just like, okay. Whatever, dude. But yeah, now we do you have any more comments about that?
It's like I said, it's just kind of the lamest one, like one of the lamer ones, sadly.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like the more we see the lizard, the lamer he's probably going to get.
Probably. I'm going to be shocked the day I see like a comic with the lizard centered where I'm like, you know what?
This was really
fucking good and interesting.
Yeah. All right, there's my Electro.
I really like that.
Yeah.
He looks like a sun god.
Yeah, he kind of does.
He looks like the balloons monkey sun god. You like that?
Yeah, I do. All right, issue number 7. This is
probably my second favorite.
I honestly might say this is my favorite, other than I've kind of come to your side of this. This is my favorite because this comic introduces something I didn't even know was an idea, but it's also like my favorite fucking... They introduce a romance for Spider-Man that's never even been delved into like anything.
Like in movies or anything?
That I've seen, at least.
Any mainstream Spider-Man media you can think of.
Like, even TV shows, I've never seen him date this character, but honestly, the chemistry between them in the comic is really nice, and I like it a lot.
And where we left off with reading, we kind of got a cliffhanger on their romance.
Yeah, we did, but it'll be interesting for us to talk about next time. But issue number 7, we got the return of the Vulture.
Yeah.
So, Vulture's in prison, right? Obviously. No shit. He went to jail in the last time we saw him.
And we get the first little introduction of, like, him being, like, an engineer, where he's, like, working in the machine shop at the prison.
Yeah, he's a really upstanding prisoner, you know. Good boy. Very good boy.
Yep, good Vulture.
But obviously he's working in mechanics so that he can steal things to become the Vulture.
Yeah, he's like working on his new set of Vulture wings.
Yeah,
so that Spider-Man can't foil them again.
Yeah, he's made it specifically so that they don't work on magnets anymore.
No, they still work on magnets. It's just that he can reverse the polarity of his wings so that when Spider-Man uses his device, he just switches the polarity so it doesn't work. Which, again, is just, like, nonsense. It's just, like, word soup or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But the important part is the thing Spider-Man did last time won't work.
Okay. That's so stupid.
I know, it is fucking stupid.
Anyway, basically the Vulture escapes, and it's a huge announcement. And Spider-Man's super cocky because he's like, oh, I'll just fucking do the same shit I did last time.
I fucking slammed the Vulture into 3 tons of concrete last time.
Yeah. So, Vulture's going around, he's stealing shit. Spider-Man's confident, he's catching pictures of him. But oh shit, his fucking thing doesn't work. And the Vulture catches him by surprise and knocks the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And the whole fucking city sees it, so they're like, oh shit, Spider-Man's dead, I guess.
Ooh, yep.
Is that you being the
Yeah,
citizens?
I'm like, whoa, that's Spider-Man, he's falling.
Yeah, he gets the shit kicked out of him, and everybody's like, oh fuck, Spider-Man's dead and the Vulture's gonna rule forever.
Yeah, but he just breaks his arm.
Yeah, he breaks Spider-Man's arm, and I think this is very interesting because it's like, obviously before they give him the super healing, like, not that he can super heal like Wolverine, but like he heals faster. But they say that, like, this broken arm is still going to take, like, 12 weeks to heal, which I don't think that would be a thing that would happen.
No, they don't even have the healing factor in this.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, in latest ones, it's definitely not a thing that would happen.
Yeah.
Which I think it's very interesting, though, that it's like, oh, Spider-Man's going to have to fight with a broken arm at some point, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But we cut back to the Vulture, and he's like, oh, I fucking killed Spider-Man, so, now I can go and, rob as many people as I want. And he basically figures, oh, the Daily Bugle is like the biggest news source in New York, so I might as well just go fucking rob them before they, on payroll day or whatever, when they have all the money.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to the Daily Bugle while it's like during the daytime or whatever. And Betty Brant and Peter are talking, and they're flirting a little bit. It's very cute. And the Vulture fucking swoops in while Peter and her are talking, and he confronts J. Jonah Jameson, and he's like, I need all your money. I'm going to steal all of it.
And the funny thing about this is, like, they make a joke that J. Jonah Jameson is so formidable and greedy about money that he's, like, trying to bargain with the Vulture over the money. And the Vulture is just like, I don't give a shit. I'm the Vulture. I'm gonna steal all your money. And J. Jonah Jameson is like, well, you can't do that. I need this money.
Yeah. So basically, Pete goes away, and he shows back up as Spider-Man. And has his broken arm in like a web shooting position, like permanently, so it looks somewhat natural, but it still looks fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
He fights the Vulture around a bunch. It's a big battle in the air, basically.
In the office, yeah.
Yeah, in the office, in the air. Hi, I'm back. Haha, where are we? Welcome back, Rose. We are talking about issue number 7 right now, where the Vulture returns. But Spider-Man gets him to fly him really, really high up into the air. Also, Rose, this is my Electro, if you didn't see. And also, this is my lizard that I made.
The lizard's my favorite so far.
The lizard's your favorite?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the Sandman a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all look good.
But, who should I make next?
Try to make Vulture.
Oh, God, that's going to be really hard.
Yeah, you can just have the wings pointing out straight like a totem.
I don't know. It's still going to be hard, but I will certainly try it.
Okay.
But yeah, Spider-Man gets him to fly him into the sky, and then he pins his wings with his webs, and then the Vulture just falls to the ground, and Spider-Man saves the day yet again.
And there's a sweet little scene.
Oh yeah, at the very end where Betty Brant and Peter Parker just sit with each other and they talk. And it's the starting of a budding romance. And it's like the best romance. I really like it. They're very cute together. Because they just like... what did they even talk about? They're just like, because Spider-Man, like, for the first time ever, web shuts J. Jonah Jameson's mouth. And they're, like, joking, like, oh... what are we going to do? Well, Jameson can't talk, so they just sit together and they just talk for a really long time, and she puts her head on his shoulder, and it's very, very cute. I like it a whole lot.
Yeah.
This is like, I don't know, the Vulture stuff is really, really cool. I like the Vulture a lot, but I think the Betty Brant stuff at the very, very end of the comic is what, like, sells it for me.
Yeah.
I really, really like it.
I think also, I just really like when... the fight is somewhere that we're familiar with instead of just being at like some random ass warehouse in the middle of nowhere. Because like I was seeing the fight in the newsroom and I'm like, oh, this is really fun. Like seeing the newsroom just get completely fucked with the papers flying everywhere.
Yeah. There's like a really cool bit where they fly to like the printing press and stuff.
Yeah.
I agree. When they give it like a more defined location, it kind of goes in line with the school fight in the Sandman one, where it's like a location that we're at constantly. So it's like we get it where the layout is supposed to be and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, any other thoughts on that one?
Not really. I just quite like it. Again, I like the fight, and I like when they introduce something interesting, like the Betty stuff. So.
Yeah. All right. So let's do Amazing Spider-Man number 8. I think I'm gonna take a break. I'm just gonna do these reviews. We'll stare at which one should we stare at?
Let's stare at Electro. Let's stare at the Sun God Electro.
All right, we'll stare at Electro for a while.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put this down. All right, number 8. It's a very odd comic because Spider-Man fights a villain called what's he called? Like the
Living Brain.
Yeah, the Living Brain. So basically, scientist is brought over to the high school to talk about science shit, and he brings the Living Brain, which is supposed to be the smartest thing ever.
It's like a computer.
Yeah, it's a computer, and it's supposed to know absolutely everything. And while the presentation's going, Peter Parker and Flash Thompson are butting heads. At this point, we haven't been really mentioning it, but Flash keeps pressing Peter, and Peter just keeps, like, almost losing it on Flash. So we basically... during this presentation, they come to the agreement that they're going to fight after school.
Actually, doesn't like the principal condone it?
Yeah, obviously they're like it's a sparring match or whatever, so they're like, oh, lose some steam in the sparring match or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just two boys beating the fuck out of each other.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the presentation, the professor's
during the fight.
Well, whatever. The professor's like, let's ask the Living Brain any question. And everybody's like, okay, what's the identity of Spider-Man? And Peter Parker's like, holy shit, what if this thing actually knows that I'm Spider-Man? And it gives the message, and it's all in binary, right?
It's in code.
Yeah, in code of some sort. And the scientist gives it to Peter Parker because he's like, oh, well, let's have one of the students decode it or whatever. So Peter's gonna bring it home after the weekend, and they're gonna
see the answer.
or whatever. And as Peter's being all this is going down, two guys are like, that are like watching the showcase, they're like, holy shit, we could steal that.
We could steal this and it would like give us lottery numbers and shit.
Yeah, they're like, it could predict horse races and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, while they're distracted, these guys try to steal it. And Flash and Peter go to have their sparring match or whatever.
Yeah.
Which obviously Peter wins.
Yeah. And it's such bullshit. It actually makes you almost as angry as Peter for a minute because he is like beating the shit out of Flash and dodging every hit. And everybody's just like, oh, Flash, why are you going easy on him? Like,
yeah. But in the meanwhile, while the guys are trying to steal the living brain, they malfunction it and it starts just fucking attacking randomly.
Yeah, like it just wants to kill everyone.
Yeah, just all of a sudden it becomes robot that wants to kill people.
Yeah.
And
then we just get like a really long, tedious fight in the school where this robot is like chasing Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's nothing really interesting to even say about it, honestly. It's just like, oh, the living brain's really smart and it can like
predict what Spider-Man's gonna do.
Yeah, so or we did say that, yeah, Peter Parker did win the fight. We talked about that.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. The living brain is like the lamest one out of all of these characters that we're introduced to.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only way that Peter fucking defeats it is he like shuts it off. Finally, he like attaches himself and boops on the laptop that's on its front page thing.
Yeah, the laptop on its panel or whatever.
Yeah.
And tosses it down the stairs.
Yeah, and okay, so we didn't describe, but after the fight between Peter Parker and Flash Thompson, Peter Parker knocked out Flash Thompson, but everybody was like, oh, Peter, you cheated or whatever. Flash Thompson wakes up or whatever, and he shows up after all the fighting stops. And everybody's like, hey, Flash, where were you during all this fighting or whatever? And they're instantly like, oh, wait, Flash Thompson, you're probably Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's basically the end of the comic where everybody's like, oh, Flash, are you Spider-Man?
And Peter really plays it up where he's just like, wait a minute, where was Flash during the fight?
Yeah. Well, also, Peter fucking destroys the piece of paper that might say... That's what... It kind of pisses me off that he destroys it. I wish he would have figured out if the living brain actually, like, knew.
Yeah.
I really wish he did. But instead he just, like, rips up the piece of paper and he's like, oh, I'll just tell them that it got destroyed during that whole kerfuffle or whatever. But I really wish he had, like, read it so we would have known if the living brain had actually, like, figured it out or not. But whatever, I guess.
Yeah. But the next story in this is the one you hate.
Yeah, so this is a two-parter. And a two-parter in the sense that it's, like, got this... I don't even know if it's canon. I don't want to think it's canon because it's, like, one of the worst things I've ever fucking read. So, it's basically Spider-Man goes to a party to fucking harass the Human Torch and his friends. I don't even want to talk about it very long, so I'm going to just sum it up. He harasses the Human Torch and his friends because he's like, oh, I don't have any friends, so I might as well harass the Human Torch for no reason.
Yeah.
And then he just beats the shit out of the Human Torch for no reason because the Human Torch is like, hey, can you fucking leave my party that I'm having?
And he also beats the shit out of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, well, no, I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
So he beats the shit out of the Human Torch and the Fantastic Four shows up and they're like, hey, Spider-Man, can you, like, chill out for a second? But Spider-Man's like, no, fuck you guys. I'm going to beat the shit out of you too.
Yeah.
And then he just fucks off. And that's the whole part. It's so fucking stupid. It's so stupid. I don't know why it's a thing. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It's dumb. I hate it. I don't like it. Can we... number 8's probably the worst one. Is number 8 the worst one out of all of them that we've read?
Well, just because of the added torch thing, it's like, why does he go and just harass them?
Yeah, I do not get it. It's so bad. It is so bad.
But I mean, do you like the other part with the living brain?
The only part I like is when he fights Flash Thompson. Even then, I feel like they don't do enough with it. I think it's like, I think all of it is just like bad.
Well, I think I don't know. I'm just like, he's just getting like chased around the whole fight by a stupid looking robot that looks like a big vacuum cleaner in a school.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't care about this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, I guess, should we move on to number 8?
Yeah. Number 9, you mean?
Or number 9, sorry.
Yeah.
That was number 8. Number 9, where we meet Electro.
This fucking badass suit.
Yeah, I love Electro. This is like I like this one a lot too.
Really?
I really do.
You're gonna have to explain to me, because I thought this one was just fine.
Okay, yeah. So we start out, Spider-Man doing his Spider-Man shit, saving the day or whatever. But he goes home and we find out that Aunt May's really, really sick. And we don't know, they never explained to us what she's really sick with, but she's fucking really sick.
Yeah, she has to, like, go get surgery.
Yeah, well, not at this point. At this point, she's just at home and he's like, I don't know what to do to take care of you. But we smash cut to, meeting Max Dillon, who's charging himself up for the final time to become Electro. He goes out and he robs a bunch of... I'm not... should I just give the origin story now?
Yeah.
Yeah, the origin story is that he was an electrician. He was on a fucking pole. He got zapped or whatever. And he became, like, supercharged. And he's been, like, using other electricity sources to, like... charge himself up even more. That's about it. He goes out and he robs a couple banks or whatever, and meanwhile, while he's robbing the banks, Peter's still at home. He's finally called the doctor because it's gotten to a point where he needs to, and the doctor's like, yeah, you just gotta send this bitch to the hospital because she's not doing good.
Yeah. And at this point, like, Betty Brant is being really sweet and being like, oh, I'll come sit at the hospital with you, Peter.
Well, I gotta say, though, even Liz and Flash come to visit Peter after they hear that his aunt's in the hospital, which is really nice. And Flash obviously is like, oh, fucking only Liz dragging me here, but obviously he's, like, actually concerned. Yeah, Betty Brant comes to visit Aunt May all the time and stuff, and she's just really sweet to her and Peter. I really like the romance. I like it a lot. She's very, very nice.
Well, I just really like that this kind of goes along with my theory too, where it's like, yeah, Flash does some bullying, but it's like, he's really not terrible most of the time. And it's like, it seems like in some instances he cares, because one thing we failed to mention in the last comic was he wakes up and he's like, holy shit, Peter Parker kicked my ass. Maybe I should, like, dish this guy out some more respect. You know what I mean?
Does he? I thought he accuses Peter of having, like, a brick on his glove.
No, well, okay, he does that in the beginning of the fight.
Oh, okay.
But throughout the fight, he's like, whoa, Peter's actually kind of really strong. And then he wakes up and he goes, like, man, Peter's really strong. I should, like, put some respect on this guy's name. But then all the students are like, oh, no, Peter cheated. And Flash is like, oh, yeah, I guess Peter did cheat.
Yeah. So, we meet Jonah Jameson this comic, and basically his whole thing is he gets like robbed by Electro, but he goes back to the Daily Bugle and he makes an article that says Spider-Man is Electro, so he's just at this point printing lies.
Well, no, Electro doesn't rob him. He's at the bank while Electro robs the bank.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You'd assume the bank also has his money as well.
Well, yeah.
But he goes and he prints that's Electro's Spider-Man, which is like everybody turns on Spider-Man because they think it's the truth, because it's like the idea like, oh, you can't print lies.
Yeah, they'll fucking believe anything.
Yeah. So obviously Spider-Man needs to go out and fucking stop Electro to prove otherwise that he's not. But the second that he meets Electro, he touches him and he gets fucked up because obviously he's made out of electricity.
Yeah, and Electro's like, cool, I killed Spider-Man.
Yeah. And Peter, goes back to the Daily Bugle the next day after being defeated, and he gives Jameson pictures that like fake pictures to even further cement that Spider-Man is Electro.
Yeah, they're like transition pictures or whatever, like Animorphs bullshit.
Yeah, he's like trying to give him fake shit so that he'll get in trouble, which it works. But, well, not right now, obviously, but...
well, he gives him fake pictures because he needs money for his aunt.
Well, yeah, pictures for money as well, but also, yeah. So, we visit back to Aunt May. She's really fucking sick still. And it's just, I don't know, it's a really sad, I wish they would, like, I know it's just a 60s thing where it's like, oh, she's sick, so whatever. I really wish they would explain, like, what the fuck is going on. Because it's like, I don't know, you watch Aunt May, who is a character you really, really like, and then all of a sudden it's like she's sick, but you're like, you can't really connect because you're like, what is she sick with? Why the fuck is she, like, so sick?
Yeah. Also, there's a problem within this comic where, like, Peter is dedicating himself to taking care of Aunt May, and he, like, goes and sits with her during her surgery and stuff. So while Electro is doing shit, like, Spider-Man isn't showing up because Peter's just looking after his aunt.
Yeah, so it further cements the idea that Electro is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But Electro's, final plan is now coming into action where he breaks into the prison and he plans to enlist the help of every single prisoner and basically, like,
use them as his cronies.
Yeah, basically create his own, like, fucking supervillain crew or whatever. And Spider-Man shows up, because Aunt May's out of her surgery at this point, so he can finally show up to save the day. And Jonah Jameson's like, holy fuck, I'm gonna get in so much trouble for printing lies, because he himself even does, like, actually believe it. That's the interesting thing I really like, is that he actually does believe the things he's saying, even though it's like there's no evidence to back them up at all.
Which is weird, because they change his motivation, because I can't remember which one, but in one of the comics, he explicitly says, like, oh, I don't care what the fuck I print, it's all about money. I don't even have to believe it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But in a later one, in this one, I believe, at the end, he goes, I'm really, like, bitter and jealous of Spider-Man, and that's why I print.
Oh no, that's the next one.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
but he's like, that's why I print bad things about him. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's just that they want to add more, and they didn't think about it at the time, so they wrote stupid bullshit. Yeah. So we get a whole thing where Spider-Man fights a bunch of prison guards and
prisoners.
Not prison guards, prisoners. I think it's really cool because, or at least this issue, because Peter learns from his first fight, and before he came here, he went and bought, like, insulated gloves and stuff so he can fight Electro, which is really cool.
Insulated booties.
Yeah, but I like that even though Spider-Man has a contingency plan, so does Electro, because he just pulls out a pistol and tries to shoot Spider-Man, which obviously doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Spider-Man defeats Electro the same way he defeats him a lot of the time. He fucking douses him with a bunch of water. Which, I don't know, is that... I always thought that's a weird way to defeat a man made out of electricity. Is it, like, the idea that it's, like, overcharging him?
No, it's just if you spray, like, water on electricity, it short-circuits stuff.
Oh, so he is short-circuiting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Spider-Man then, gets a bunch of pictures and stuff like that, and goes to the Daily Bugle, where Jonah Jameson's like, I'm gonna fucking fire Peter Parker for giving me those fake-ass pictures. But Peter stands up for himself, and he's like, you're not gonna fucking fire me. One, I don't even work for you. And two, I have the only pictures that are gonna save you. And he shows the pictures of Spider-Man, like, fighting Electro. And Jonah Jameson, like, starts to show that he's a really evil bastard, because he's like, I don't know, for the first few, he's like, you're like, okay, he's just kind of an asshole a little bit. But in these, he's like really malicious, and he's like, "Oh, Peter, you fucking idiot. Thank you for bringing me these pictures. Now I don't have to fire your stupid ass."
Well, he goes like, "I'm not going to pay for these pictures. These are your makeup pictures for tricking me before." And he's just like, "What a fucking moron. I would have paid him a bunch of money. I'm literally robbing him of these pictures."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically Betty Brant's like goes to Peter and she's like, "Why did you even sell the pictures in the first place? Like, was fucking stupid of you." And Peter's like, "You don't get it." Then they have a little bit of a spat or whatever. But she goes and meets up with him and they talk it over and they end up being, still flirtatious, or they're not dating, but they're still flirtatious with each other and it's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's Amazing Spider-Man number 9. What did you think, Akasha?
I thought it was pretty good.
You didn't think it was that great?
No, not really. I just, again, like, Electro isn't really one of my favorites, and it didn't really give me anything I was that interested in. I did like, just the whole thing with Jonah Jameson with the fake pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
And I really like the plot point where you see that Peter, like, cares so much about his aunt that it's, like, not even a question that he'll go sit with her over being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because he's constantly like, "She's my mom. She's my mom. I can't just abandon her."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like that because she is his mom, basically. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now we're on the last issue, and is this, like, one of your least favorite issues?
I fucking hate these sons of bitches.
Yeah, honestly, like, I hate... So this is Spider-Man meets the Enforcers.
Bro, you guys like the Enforcers?
Oh, wait, you've never heard of the Enforcers? So I'm just going to explain who the Enforcers are real quick. They're just like a group of thugs. There's their man, who's a guy who wears a mask. There's Ox. He's just a big, strong guy. I don't even...
There's a Fancy P or whatever the fuck. Fancy Dan, who is a small man who is really strong,
and fast.
And Montana, who is a medium man who is really strong,
and he uses a lasso. Yeah, fucking so stupid. But it starts out basically the
Oh, but you forgot to say also they, like, control, like, the rest of the criminals in New York City. Or whatever.
Well, not yet, because the comic starts out with the Enforcers, and they basically embarrass Spider-Man in front of all of New York. They, like, make him fall, like, 40 feet in the air onto the concrete, and everybody's like, "Holy shit."
The Enforcers kick Spider-Man's ass.
Yeah, it's like just a whole thing to embarrass him or whatever. And the Enforcers go around and they take over every gang in the city, being like, "Oh, we're so strong that we're gonna take you over," or whatever, and they do. I just want to, like, fast talk about this one because this one is lame. We meet a random ass character that we've never met before that works at the Daily Bugle, who's clearly the big man. I'm just gonna spoil it right now. He's the fucking big man. He works for J. Jonah Jameson, and he gets just, like, shit on constantly because he works for J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah. The funny thing is I was reading it, and I was like, they're introducing this fucking random ass motherfucker that is 100% the villain. But you said at first you didn't see that.
Well, I didn't see it just because I hadn't read the amount of comics you had. I honestly, because they do this thing where Betty Brant is, like, harassed by the Enforcers because she owns money to loan sharks or whatever. And I thought for maybe a second it was, like, this weird thing where it was like, oh my god, is that why Betty Brant is never, like, a love interest? Because she's just, like, a main villain right off the bat? Mm-hmm. That's the only reason I was thinking that.
Yeah.
But, Betty gets harassed by them. Pete catches this happening, and as they, like, leave, he goes to follow them. And
Spider-Man.
As Spider-Man, obviously. And goes and just starts to beat the shit out of them, but he realizes he can't win the fight, so he leaves to follow wherever the big man left to go during the fight. Because the big man, obviously, is, like, the main big boss, so he's not gonna, endanger himself if he doesn't have to. Mm-hmm. So Spider-Man follows him, but only finds J. Jonah Jameson, so he thinks that he's J. Jonah Jameson.
What?
I don't know. What, you want to take over?
Well, what happens is, so Peter is still unsure of who it is, but he really thinks it's J. Jonah Jameson. But he makes a new plan where he's just like, well, I have to get him out and have to get him, like, the enforcers to target me and capture me as Peter Parker to catch them by surprise. So he does a thing where he's like, he goes around town telling everybody, oh, I know who the big man really is.
Oh, yes, I forgot you did this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the big man will, like, target Peter Parker.
Yeah, so they do capture him, and they put him in a cell, and they're like, we're gonna come back for you, and you're gonna get tortured mob style, bruh.
Yeah, so...
And in the meantime, he turns into Spider-Man, obviously.
Yeah, he kicks all their asses, That's basically it.
That's it.
Yeah, he breaks out. He does some. He kicks their ass.
Yeah, and then the most important part is at the end. It's not J. Jonah Jameson. It's this random ass motherfucker at the Daily Bugle.
Yeah, he like gets away, but the cops find him because of his shoes or whatever.
Yeah. And then there's like kind of a cliffhanger where Betty Brant leaves the city to go stay in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, she left the city because she thought that if she stayed, she would get Peter more involved, which, I mean, she already did.
Yeah,
but
in whatever is wrong with, like, what's going on with her past.
Yeah, there's more to her. They keep hinting that there's more to her than they keep letting on or whatever.
And that she needs to stay away from Peter to not get him involved or whatever.
Yeah. We end the comic with J. Jonah just having like a fucking soliloquy to himself about how he's so jealous of Spider-Man and that's why he hates him so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about it.
Overall, though, it's like whatever.
Yeah, other than the J. Jonah Jameson thing and the Betty thing, it's like really lame. The enforcers are fucking dumb as shit.
Fuck the enforcers.
I don't care about them a singular bit.
Enforce these nuts.
All right. Any other thoughts on?
No, it's just like it's so boring. It's like, is it supposed to be funny that there's like, oh, a big one, a medium one, a small one? Like, is that it?
Yeah.
Is that all there is to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just regular ass dudes. And it's like, what? Spider-Man can't defeat the mob? And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, Spider-Man can't defeat the mob when it's Hammerhead. Spider-Man can defeat the mob when it's the fucking pussy-ass enforcers.
Yeah, it's like, the thing is he fights them the first time and he leaves because he's like, oh, there's too many of them. But he fights them the second time and there's even more of them.
And he's like, this is fine.
Yeah, and he's like, this is fine. I just beat the shit out of all of them.
Yeah.
They even do shit like they're in like a warehouse, like a car warehouse or whatever. They throw fucking like rocks at him or not rocks, tires and shit, and he's like hopping through them. And
yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous. But I guess that's the end of talking about the comics. Do we want to talk about like maybe what was our favorite ones? What were...
Yeah. You just want to talk about some end things, and then I'll do my little piece.
Your little piece?
Like you talk about the points you like and the ones you stuff... The stuff you like and everything, and then I talk about mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was confused.
Dugan.
Shut up. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I don't know. I'm excited to do more.
Mm-hmm.
I was not bored by any of them, even though some of them were boring. At the time, I was still not bored by them until after the fact, at least. You know, like I could read them and I was still like kind of on the edge of my seat for some of them.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really liked it. I hope that it continues being like that. I really, really do. I'm excited to see. I know it's going to be... I know it's so long from now, but I really want to see Venom. I know it's... I'm pretty sure it's a really long time from now that we're going to see... Like, we have to wait to see him, but...
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I do... want to see new interesting villains. Like as much as we shit on the Living Brain or whatever, it's like interesting to see what Spider-Man fought that you don't see in like movies and, you know, or video games even.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from the panels of the actual comics that they originate from. It's really cool. Really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see team ups. I kind of want more Spider-Man team-ups where he's like meets other superheroes, because he only really kind of interacts with the Fantastic Four in at least these first ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see who else he's going to meet and how their team-ups are going to go. I mean, he doesn't even team up with the Fantastic Four, honestly.
No.
Yeah, so I kind of want to see him fight with some heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's very similar to what you were saying. It's really fun to see. You're like, oh, when is like, I'm sitting there like, when the fuck is Black Cat gonna show up? Which I'm sure is so far away.
Probably.
But I'm just like, is there gonna be any hints to like her character later, like something they recycle and use later or whatever? Just stuff like that where I'm like, oh, when is Tombstone gonna show up?
Yeah, no, I am very excited. Exactly, I'm very excited for all of these villains to show up.
Yeah, and it's really interesting too, just to see like, because obviously when you're first starting a comic like this is only the first 10. You kind of have to refine all the powers and stuff, and it's just like you can tell that they're trying to figure out like what Spider-Man is supposed to do and be.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing with like I was reading Fantastic Four, and where I'm at, they just gave Invisible Girl new powers.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like they want to like round out the team a little more.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting stuff like that just to see the evolution, but it's also really interesting how that's a lot of horses.
That is a lot of horses.
It's interesting though to see that like a lot of stuff really hasn't changed.
Yeah, I really appreciate that too.
I feel like out of everything I've seen from all the comics I've been reading, Spider-Man seems like the most unchanged.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Are you? I mean, obviously, I think we're overall just enjoying the Spider-Man experience.
Yeah.
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 I'm very excited to do the next whatever 10 or whatever we do.
I mean, like all the comics I'm reading, I'm really enjoying. There's only one I don't fucking like, and it's the Human Torch based one.
Well, I guess. How about that's the end of the review.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want? You can just talk about Marvel comics if you'd like how you're reading those.
Oh no, I mean I've kind of talked about everything I wanted.
Well, no, but you were just talking about you haven't talked about the Human Torch.
Oh my god, fuck the Human Torch, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you don't like his solo stuff.
I don't. It's just like, I don't know. It's probably just because they give him a bunch of really stupid villains that I really don't like, and also that like. Out of all of them, it just doesn't feel right to have one of the members of the Fantastic Four have their own thing.
It should always be a group thing.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that.
They're so much better as a group. Like, they have really good chemistry.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's just like the Human Torch just going out there and literally just, I don't know, being very similar to Spider-Man, I guess. And just being all quippy and whatever, and a teenager, like a hot-headed teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, it just feels unnecessary to me.
I completely get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that will be it then.
Yup.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for showing up. I'm going to send you guys to Spoon.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoy that. We will be back doing some reviews soon. We have some in the pipeline. Obviously, we're going to be doing more comic book reviews, so be on the lookout. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.